Welcome to the Alpha Mirror Podcast, the show where we strip away the ego, face the truth, and build the strongest version of you. Hosted by Jason Connor, combat veteran, NLP master practitioner, seven-figure business owner, and best-selling author of Parenting Your Inner Child. Welcome to the show.
Welcome back to the Alpha Mirror. I'm your guide, Jason Connor. If you're joining us for the first time, the Alpha Mirror is simply where we strip the mask, kill the fake smiles, and get brutally honest about who we really are. No filters, no fluff, no bullshit. Just real men, real stories, the truth that most people run from. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strength in its purest form. Take a breath, look in the mirror, be ready to face the parts of yourself that you've been hiding, because healing starts where the lies end. My special guest today that I am absolutely proud to have knows a lot about lives. He's going to tell you firsthand, 50 plus years, he says to himself, he's been living a life. Patrick Lomantini, what's up, brother?
What's happening, man? I'm great. It's awesome to be here.
Man, I am super excited, not only to just reconnect with you, but have you on here because you have an incredible story. As I was listening to your podcast that you did before with Greg, you say that 50 some odd years you've been living a lie.
And it took some brutal honesty and a real look into the mirror and to understand why I felt back in March 19th of 2023, I decided to take my life. And when I recovered from that moment, it was massively important to me to find out why I felt that was my only option. Because, years of a lie. It started young.
As you can remember?
I'm probably all the way back into grade school. I mean, we weren't really rich. We lived in a small town in Kansas, and we ended up going to a private parochial school. So a lot of lawyer kids, a lot of doctors' kids, and we were on the other side of the tracks. And I just never fit in socially. I never fit in athletically. I was a skinny, scrawny kid. And so I just started developing these stories to tell so that I felt like I had some validation or I had some sort of acceptance with these kids. And that just kept growing and growing through life. Well, and that's the thing about lies.
That's the thing about lies.
You got to tell another one. You got to tell another one. And it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
You have to remember what you said.
That's the beautiful thing about living in truth is you don't have to worry. I'm not worried about what I'm saying because I don't have to remember it. You just keep living your best life and being your best version of you. And that was my, I was trying to discover exactly who I was. And so I didn't know where to start. I lost my wife that I thought I adored and a house that we had just built. And I think that's where a lot of the troubles begin with people is they are looking for validation, looking for acceptance in other people and things. So when those things are removed and everything is temporary, you don't know who you are because you don't have that value set inside of you that if a woman leaves you, I'm fine with that. I'm okay. I know who I am.
Right.
If my car gets in an accident, I'm okay. I'll get another one.
Right.
But we place so much value in that. And unfortunate that we're putting so much value in our social media. Like how many likes did I get? How many views did I get? And if you don't get what you think you should, you start feeling like you failed, or it's like, dude, just one, move on to the other, but a lot of people don't feel like that. So I finally discovered purpose in all of it. I did a year's worth of intensive therapy. I did a lot of self-discovery. I was very, very fortunate.
When you say intensive therapy, just because from my therapy background, are you talking like traditional therapy where they tell you what the book wants to tell you, or are you talking unconventional therapy like what we eventually, went through with Greg and his
I was very fortunate to have both. When I went through what I went through back in March of 2023, I created a lot of problems for myself. It was basically a high-speed chase, an O.J. Simpson style thing right here on 840 at mile marker 50.8. I led police on a high-speed chase up to 115 miles an hour.
My
mind was gone
past my exit. I'm exit 50.
There and
going west.
There's a lot to unwind, but this is my third attempt at suicide. I attempted suicide many, many years ago after the divorce of my first wife. And it was a weak attempt. It was more of attention seeking. Took a bunch of pills. Years go by, and reestablished myself here in Franklin. And when I came to Franklin from living in Vegas and traveling the country and doing all of that, I finally felt like I found happiness, if you will. I finally felt like I found a woman I can tell all of my stuff to, be completely open and transparent to. But I was never enough for her. And as much as I wanted that to work, I was just never enough for her. And I just led a life of that. And that's where the lies came from, because I never felt enough. And I never felt like I was going to be successful enough or loved. And the bottom line is I never knew what it really was to love someone, because I never loved me. I never knew. To not know yourself, how can you possibly love yourself?
You're speaking my language.
Man, if I don't know who I am from a child,
They say you cannot love another person until you love yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
So I did the traditional therapy. So let me explain what happened. So when I did what I did on the highway, I was in the middle of diving deep into suicide and trying to understand it.
And if you don't mind, for the listeners, if you mind sharing, like, happened?
Yeah, well, definitely. So when I went through what I was going through with my wife, and I was homeless and I was bouncing around, sleeping at the truck stop, which is depressing, sleeping in hotel rooms, which are depressing, especially when you find yourself alone and you don't know how to deal with being alone.
I can't imagine.
So very depressing. So I went down to Destin, Florida back in February of 23. And I went, that's my happy place. I love the beach. And I was trying to just kind of get right with God. It's like, man, I'm going to be okay. Am I going to be okay? And I walked that beach for 4 hours. I think I blistered my toes. It was just amazing. I just walked and prayed and walked and prayed. And the weird thing about it was I didn't realize the day. It was Valentine's Day. And I'm down there going through all of this, and I'm seeing all these happy couples. And I'm like, this is really messing me up a little bit. So I felt like I was in a good spot. So I drive all the way back. So I get back in my car, and I start back to Franklin on a Friday. And here's the thing when you're not right. I had a support group. I had people I could have called. I had a pastor friend that was going to baptize me. I had my mom I could have called. I had my best friend Tad back home I could have called. Nope, didn't want to bother him. Didn't want to bother him. So I drove back, and the first 4 hours coming back was good. And then I lost it on the last 2 hours. And in my research and diving into suicide and how can I hurt myself without it being too painful, I don't want to mess up my face because I'm too vain, all this stuff that goes through your head. So I did in my research that if you take over 45 Benadryl, you'll just lose it, stroke out, and you'll be dead. So on my way back, I went to Lowe's to get some zip ties. I went to the store to get some Benadryl, and I went to the liquor store to buy some vodka. I went to my hair salon because I had my own little shop in Solis salons for a couple of years before I went back to the barbershop. I went into that salon. So here's the thing that you just don't pay attention to. I could have called somebody. And here's the thing about support groups. If you are my support group, Jason, you're no value to me if I don't call you.
Right.
So what good is it? Right. If I don't call you and tell you I need help, you can't help me. So I didn't call anybody. So I went in there, I put a zip tie around my neck. I put 45 Benadryl in me. I think I ended up doing 60 and drank half a bottle of vodka. I literally passed out because I wanted to die and fell backwards, dislocated my right shoulder. I should have been dead. But 10 hours later, I wake up to a knock on the door, and I'm like, how am I awake? I had blood because I cut myself with a zip tie. I had all this stuff going on. And for all you listeners listening to this, I'm not in any way, when I'm sharing this story, any way advocating this. It was just a horrible, horrible, dark moment for me that I want to share. And it was a customer of mine waiting for his haircut. And I had a complete list of people waiting to get their haircut that day. So all I had to do was pattern interrupt, call somebody, maybe look at my schedule and realize I had 20 haircuts listed that day, and it would have maybe snapped me out of it. But I didn't look at any of it because I knew I just didn't want to be here anymore. Well, that was horrified to see me like this. And it just turned into a massive circus. He called the police, the fire, EMS, the ambulance was there, sheriffs were there. And it was a busy Saturday. So you can imagine all of the people there getting their haircut on top of this goofball trying to hurt himself. So that was my first experience at a really, really attempting. And I got put at TriStar, Madison, Tennessee, therapy, the psych ward. I was there for a week. Do you remember the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
The name.
Where he went into an insane asylum or, therapy, psych ward. It felt just like that. And the first thing that I said was, why am I here? These people obviously need to be here. I don't need to be here. But the truth was, is I need to be here. So I spent a week there, and that's when I discovered podcasting. And I reached out to Alex, and he's like, dude, it would be good for you. Get it out of your system. Talk about it. So I started diving into suicide and understanding it as best I could. And so that fateful day on March 19th, 2023, I did a podcast that morning at Alex's podcast in Spring Hill. And it was about Robin Williams. And it was an understanding that people are so smiley on the outside, but you don't know what's going on the inside. And so he was my, poster child for that, subject. And so I did his last interview was with Diane Sawyer. And in he said, it's about others, and it's about helping other people. You got to kick your ego to the curb, get out there, because you just don't know what people are going through. Yeah. And not long after he killed himself. So that fateful day, I do not remember any of it. I don't remember doing the podcast. If it wasn't for the fact that I actually taped it and recorded it, I wouldn't have remembered even doing it. So I got in my car, which I don't remember. I got on 840, I don't remember. And I started recklessly, and people called the sheriff and said, hey, there's a guy on the road. He's driving like a maniac. And somehow I don't recall this, but this is what I read in the police report. The sheriff tried to pull me over, and I just took off, weaving in and out of traffic, just causing all kinds of problems. Ran a sheriff off the road. Yeah. Out of my mind, just lost. They finally get me to pull over using spikes, and they surrounded my guns drawn. Get the fuck out of the car. We're going to shoot you. Get out of the car, screaming. I looked down, and I had a pocket knife, about a 5-inch blade, and did not hesitate. I looked down, looked at them, and I slit my throat from here, and then stuck it in right there and cut both of the jugulars on this side, both arteries, main arteries. And your body only consumes about 7 pints of blood. I lost somewhere between 5 and 6 in that whole process. Thank that those officers were military trauma trained. And they were sticking like crazy into my throat, trying to keep me sane. So I actually got the actual body cam footage from the sheriff long ago, watching it, and it was hard to believe. And I'm glad a lot of time had passed for me to watch that, so I could be disassociated and say, okay, wow, look at that. Yes, that's what happened. And so when I woke up in the ICU with the tube in my throat, I was mad because I was still alive. I was mad at them for saving my life. And then after I calmed down for a minute, I was like, oh, okay. Obviously, I'm not good at this. Just figure out another. That's what the guys at work always tell me. But I felt this overwhelming responsibility, and I felt this obligation to find out who I am and share my story. Mm-hmm. So once I got through, I was there for 10 days at Vanderbilt Psych Ward, and then Williamson County came and arrested me for felony charges of running the sheriff off the road, 115 miles an hour, all this stuff that I created. And I was facing years in jail. So when I first met my lawyer, he was not very kind. He's like, dude, you need to wrap your head around the idea of doing 6 years. And he just wouldn't let me ask questions or anything. So about another month goes by, and he comes back, and it was a whole different person, whole different lawyer. He goes, I want you to trust me. I'm going to get you off on temporary insanity. And I'm like, see that in movies, does that really work? He says, Patrick, I read your police report, and it looks like you just had a bad day. And nobody sane sticks a knife in their neck. And so, I mean, a side note of all the different ways people can commit suicide, knife is like way at the bottom. And I choose that, right? So I ended up talking to a psychologist, another therapist, and lo and behold, came back that said on that day I did not know right from wrong, and I was temporarily. So here's God working. This is God. So they said, if you agree to 1 year of therapy, we will expunge all of these charges, and they will never be on your record. I said, sign me up.
Yeah.
I want to know more about myself. So I finished that last June of that year of therapy. And it was interesting. The first 6 weeks was intensive outpatient therapy. It was like 4 days of 3 hours of conversation in a group setting.
So last June, a couple months ago, or the year before?
A year before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and then after that, I continued it because I enjoyed it. And then I reconnected. And give Greg some credit. I don't think he'll be upset about me saying this. I was mad at Greg because Greg was one of those many people that just dumped me, just ghosted me. And it hurt because I was really close to Greg. And so we finally read about 6 months later after it all happened. And he says, I have to be completely honest with you. He goes, I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say. And I think a lot of people don't know what to say. So, but we reconnected. We're stronger in our friendship than ever. And he was signed. He goes, man, I want to get you into NLP, get your practitioner's license. So to answer your question, yes, I did the traditional therapy and now I'm a master practitioner of NLP.
Bring up my next
And
point.
and it like, man, it was like, so the therapy was, but the NLP just took it another level, to understand, think the way you think and where this trauma's coming from.
You unpacked a lot, man.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you. This is what the Alpha Mirror is about. Taking off the mask that you obviously wore for a long time, that I wore for many years, that you are still wearing today. I mean, right?
Right.
I mean, come on here and share that. I mean, that's just incredible. The word survivor comes to mind. You are absolutely a survivor. And I'm just thankful just because I know you as a friend, and now you're doing so many great things like, we get to turn that pain into something great, into a purpose where you continue to serve yourself higher and you become a better person and friend and, all that. Man, just absolutely, man. Kind of just took my words away, but you mentioned a few things. You mentioned pattern interrupt.
Yes.
You mentioned, you mentioned that you're a master practitioner. Folks, if you don't know what this is, neuro-linguistics programming, NLP. If you're familiar with Tony Robbins and firewalking, you've probably heard of NLP. What you probably don't know is a lot of celebrities and people that you just goo gaga over Instagram, right? All the celebrities they follow, they're all in NLP, neuro-linguistics programming. So you got certified as a practitioner first,
right?
And then went on and just completed your master practitioner. Huge congrats. Tell us about that and how that has helped you not only forge the path forward, but also understand now things happen the way they did and what you can do now to go back, especially with your timeline therapy certification, how you can even put yourself in quantum and go back and address those challenges that you had earlier.
Yeah, great question. Great subjects. So one of the things that I struggled with is I was leaving the old Patrick behind. So when I was going through this process, I told myself and convinced myself that the old Patrick died on that highway so that the new Patrick could live.
The old Patrick being
the old one with lies and just full anger. Yeah, all of that. Just depression, the old Patrick. And I was struggling with that because I was noticing through self-awareness, which I never had before, which is huge within NLP. I was noticing through self-awareness, I was doing some of the old habits of the old Patrick. And I'm like, I was struggling with it. I'm like, he's dead. He's not here anymore. And tip my hat to my spiritual coach. His name is Jerry Negrado. And great guy. He helped me reframe.
I've heard that word before.
Yes. Reframing is another NLP technique, which is phenomenal. Just allows you to look at it in a different way so that you can absorb it and learn from it. So the reframe was, old Patrick still exists, and he exists for you to learn the lessons of what not to do anymore. And so, yes. So instead of trying to say he's not here anymore, embrace him and say, oh, you knucklehead, but you're not, that's not me anymore.
Very valid. You hit that spot on. It's talked about in my book as well, that you realize you don't want to pretend that those things didn't happen,
right?
That he did not exist. Go back and address those things with him now as the person that you are, being also disassociated,
right?
Because when you disassociate yourself from a challenge, you gain access to logic versus emotion, right?
Absolutely. And I think, the pattern interrupt, the reframing has been a big plus for myself, you know, because I'll kind of like in one of those thought patterns still, and it's like, ugh, and then put on some music or do something to change the pattern a little bit. And I think the stuff that you get into, like, I did not know I was anxious. I just thought I had this weird feeling in me every once in a while. And I didn't know what it was.
This is who I am.
I just accepted it.
This is how I'm wired.
I just accepted it. That I don't know what this feeling is. I remember talking to my ex-wife at one time. I'm like, I just have this weird feeling. I don't understand how to process it. And she was one of those people who would be like, just get over it. What's wrong with you? And I lived with that all my life. It was like, what's wrong with you? Just get over it. You know, I was telling Greg on his podcast, I saw this guy on social media, and I really got a little upset about it because he's out there giving advice to people. And he's like, I don't care about your childhood trauma. Just get over it and go do something meaningful. That was his message. I said, you didn't.
I like to have a discussion.
Huh?
I like to have a discussion.
Yeah, right. I don't care about your childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Just get over it.
Okay.
So I was telling Greg, if this is all I know, what does being meaningful mean? What does that mean? This is all I know. So how do I even go there? And to just what does that mean? Just get over it. Yeah. So yeah, I just find that unfortunate that kind of stuff is out there.
I mean, obviously that's out there. People say NLP is taboo and all this stuff, but for us who see it and we see it working in our lives,
right?
You know, we block that all. So so at one point, is back, you made a decision to change, right? The desire, just like it's full force. I'm still alive. God, I'm still alive because I shouldn't be here. On multiple occasions, just like me, 7 suicide attempts. I hate to ruin the ending for you, but I'm still here. I'm not
all right. Let's go.
Thank God.
Yes.
You know, addiction was big for me. And that's the thing I just keep repeating, man. People, I don't know why it's so hard for people just to come on and admit the truth and accept what happened. Just understand you're not a bad person. It wasn't your fault. But I tell every single person you're broken. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way or that you can't be fixed. But we know that when you go home at the end of the night, doesn't care how much money you made that day, how many people you slept with, or how many friends you have, or how many houses you have. You look in that mirror shatters.
Absolutely. 100%.
Because you're broken. The mask come off at that point. So, but going back to us, at some point you made that decision to change.
Right.
Which I'm super proud of you for.
Appreciate that.
What's the one promise you made to yourself in that moment?
I would never do that to myself again.
Yeah.
And that my purpose on life is to help other people get through the darkness and find their own light. I'm not the hero of anybody's story. I'm the hero of mine. And I'm just here to help other people find their hero in themselves. And I think that's where a lot of people are just lost. You know, just like that message that guy said on social media, just go do something meaningful. What does that mean? Show me some steps.
Yeah.
Give me guide me. And so, yeah. And so I think there's a lot of myths, and we shared this off before we got started, but the myth surrounding is, and you can probably, you can attest to this. It's not that you want to die.
You don't want to die.
You want the pain to go away.
You want the pain to go away.
And on that highway, just could not handle the noise anymore. The noise was so like fingernails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
And I just can't do that anymore. And so, but here's the thing, Jason, will you go out there and fix my car? It's making this rattle. I don't have any tools. Just go fix it. I'm sure you can figure it out. No. So I didn't have the mental tools to get through this stuff.
Which you do now.
Right. Deep breath, look at it from a bigger picture. Is it true? Is it really worth getting upset about? And why is this in your head?
Step back, disassociate.
100%. Yeah.
You know, you say that, you know, the suicide. Well, the thing is just, obviously there's listeners right now who I know for a fact are going through this, right? We can admit that. And maybe they might be on that verge. They don't feel like they can talk to anybody, but why is that? I know the answer. I want to hear from you, or at least I have my answer. You know, what is around that? Like, as a alpha male or an alpha female, if you're in this position of like life or death, why don't we reach out for help? Like, what's the taboo, the stigma behind it?
Shame.
Yeah.
Weakness.
Get
the Cowboy, Dallas Cowboy
Marcus
guy.
Nealon.
Yeah. Hey.
Sad.
Yeah. Didn't want to. sign of weakness.
I mean, not only is he an alpha male, but hell, he plays defense for the Dallas Cowboys.
And he just scored a touchdown.
Just scored his first touchdown.
Yeah, and amazing. So here's the funny, I don't know if that's the right word. The interesting observation about that is from us looking at him, you're a football player, you play for the Cowboys, you're young, you got a gorgeous girlfriend. What's your fucking problem?
Pregnant girlfriend.
What's your fucking problem?
They just announced.
Get over it. What's wrong with you? Your mom died. Everybody's mom dies.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, there's a huge lack of empathy in this world.
Yeah.
And trying to, from their model of the world.
Because as we know, you go back to values, we're raised, most people are just sweep it under the rug. You know, don't cry. Do something to cry about.
That's my life. That was my life.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't, you know, for me, military, and for those military, it's here's a fresh pair of socks, here's 2 Motrin, drink water and face out, suck it up, right? So we're just raised in this world of we don't ask for help because we're get viewed as weak. Our buddies think that we're weak. And you hear me say, and this is my show, I'll say, fuck your friends.
Yeah.
Fuck your buddies. Those aren't your, because they are just as broken and want to say something to you, but they think you're going to judge them.
Right. 100%.
But all it takes is one person to reach out and be like, oh my God, you know, relate. And now your relationship actually gets stronger because you're both dealing with something that you don't think anybody else is and you're trying to work through it. But that stigma, I mean, that comes from, you mentioned values. Why don't we ever go back and check those values were ingrained in us?
Right, right. And that's one thing that's been a huge mission of mine, to reconstruct those values, because they're not linear and you can move them around. You can, so when we were doing your hierarchy of values, you know, which one's which and where do they go, those can change. Yeah, you can change them around. And so, and sometimes those values are supported by limited beliefs, you know, that are ingrained in you. So this is my value, but I'm supporting it with a limited belief. Yeah, my goodness. So
I can't do that.
I can't do that. That's
you ever tried it before? No. How do you know you can't? I don't know. I won't like that. Have you ever tasted it before?
Right.
No.
And when did you adopt that idea?
When did you adopt the idea? Who adopted it for you?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
I think we're gonna have a lot of people start getting certified.
So interesting.
In NLP.
When I started this journey, so 2 things I wanted to say was to kind of go with what you were saying. Why don't we reach out? Because someone needs to have the conversation, and someone needs to be out there talking about it, so that they can feel gravitated toward, oh, that guy's talking about, maybe I can talk to him. Because I can't talk to my dad. I can't talk to my mom. I can't do this.
Yeah.
But this guy's talking about it.
Yeah, we're talking about it.
Yeah. So when I started talking about it, so there's a couple of things. Okay. Triggers. What triggers you into a thought or an action, whether good or bad? And so when I went through here's the beautiful, so I went through therapy, and it was teaching me to avoid triggers. So I didn't, you know, my ex-wife, you loved Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac. So when a Fleetwood Mac song would come on, I'd switch the channel. Okay. Oh no, it makes me think of her. So I was introduced through my traditional therapy. Somehow I stumbled across David Goggins' books.
Got him.
I love him.
I
can't tell you, I've lost count how many times I've listened to him. But his take on fuck triggers. If you like that song, listen to that fucking song, and fuck her. You know, she obviously don't care about you.
Yeah. So why you care about her?
Yeah. So why? So when I adopted that attitude, I was like, yes. I'm continuing to share my story. I ran into a lot of other suicide survivors. One was Kevin Hines, the guy that jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge back in 2000, broke almost all of his bones in his body, and was saved by a fucking sea lion and lifted him to the surface of the water till the Coast Guard found him. And he's been telling here's something I find very ironic. He called me up one day and said, I need to change my language to softer language, because you come across and some of your stuff might trigger someone. Hold on. I said, hold on. If I talk about suicide and what happened to me, you think honestly that might trigger someone to go do it? If they're already at that level, it ain't my fault.
Is it?
Who am I to say you can't go kill yourself? And I don't mean that as an advocate, but I'm saying, don't tell me that. Okay. And here's I think the biggest stigma of suicide conversations. We want to talk about suicide, but we don't want to talk about suicide.
We don't want to talk anything that's mental health related.
Right. And I think that those walls are breaking a little bit because we're doing this right now. Yeah. And I think a lot of it's going on with my other podcast and with Greg, and just NLP filled in the gaps for me. I had the traditional therapy. I was discovering myself, but with NLP, you were able to piece it together. Like, now I get this. My value levels, now I understand where those came from now and why I believe in this. And so it's an ongoing process. You're never finished with it.
Never finish.
No.
Because you go be a trainer and train their trainer, and then go start your apprenticeship and all kinds of crazy stuff.
But coming truth comes with side effects.
Very true.
Because my family won't talk to me now.
Yeah, same.
My mother, who always kept her head in the sand.
You're the problem now. You're the disrespectful one now.
You're not welcome anymore. How dare you talk about family stuff?
Yeah.
And my stepfather, because I've called him out on his racism and how bad it was with his mind games as a kid. He would, as a kid, you're sitting there as a 9-year-old and he would stare you down. What are you fucking staring me down for? I'm 9 years fucking old. Does it make you feel good? Anyway, so, but it with consequences, but they're good consequences. I will tell you this right now. This is the first time in my life I actually love myself.
Let's go.
That's it.
And you got a lot of love from us, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That means a lot.
You're absolutely right. The whole family dynamic is pretty wild. I talk about it a lot in my book. They can't control you. Stop playing. You stop playing the part. You challenge their values, but ultimately they just control you, and someone can't control you. All they could do is now make you look like the villain. I'm good with being the bad guy. I'm very congruent in being the bad guy. I mean, if that's a story you want to paint it. But my life, me speaking, it's about peace, purpose, or a prayer. And if you don't bring me peace, purpose, or prayer, you don't get 2 minutes of my time. I wouldn't be doing this podcast. I wouldn't be, doing the things I do on a daily basis. Every time someone asks me to do something, I say, is this going to bring me peace, purpose, or a prayer? And if the answer is no, then I just say no. And it doesn't have to be ugly.
Yeah.
And guess what, man? Well, that's more than anybody. But you guys, you don't owe them any fucking apologies. Stop apologizing.
Amen.
For places you don't want to go to.
Amen.
I got a buddy of mine, Strong Alpha Male.
Go.
Strong Alpha Male here lives in town. Every year, I mean, he's mid-40s, but every year he's being told by his father, we're doing Thanksgiving here. We're doing Thanksgiving here. Doesn't want to rock the boat. Cool. We go do Thanksgiving there. This year, father said, we're doing Thanksgiving. He said, no, I'm not.
Good for him.
I said, good for you. He said, what do you mean? I said, I'm just not going. Good, man. That's it.
That's it.
It doesn't have to be ugly or nothing. Just I still want you to eat, but you're going to eat over that table. Anyhow.
Yeah. It's one of the phrases I've adopted. It is almost like it's two things. It's okay not to be okay. It
is so okay not to be okay.
Exactly. And I tell myself that all the time because, we talk for hours, bro. But one of the things that
we're going to need a part 2 or 3.
Yeah, we do that. I would love it. But one of the things that I struggled with in life, which brought me a lot of anxiety now that I look back, is that I was always told to calm down. Because I'm very high. I have a lot of energy. And in the past, my friends were like, oh, you're really manic. But now they look at me like, oh, no, you just got a lot of energy because you're very humble now. But so my family, my friends were like, you need to relax. I said, I don't even know what that fucking means.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means. So, but I was always like, what's wrong with me? I can't relax. So then I ran across I can't even for the life of me remember who it was. But it was a podcast he was doing. He goes, and I think the biggest myth that we're told is that there's supposed to be a balanced life. He goes, if you're high strung, you're high strung. That's who you are. Embrace it. I'm not trying to be all cool, laid back. I mean, it's just that there needs to be some, not balance, but
alignment.
Alignment, yeah, maybe. Where, this is who I am and I accept that.
Yeah.
And
just it's okay. Be congruent.
It's okay to be like that.
Yeah. And don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks about you.
100%.
Someone says less is more at this time of my life. So, but well, let's start this. What's one thing that you want to leave the listeners? Anything you want? Somebody who is struggling listening about, let's just breathe the moment, every night, day, every storm runs out of rain, right? What do you want to leave them with? It's just encouraging words.
My favorite, and it's helped me so much, everything is temporary.
Yeah.
Everything is temporary, even the pain that you might be going through. And it's okay not to be okay, like we just said. You know, it's okay to embrace that. Hey, it's a moment that I'm going through. It's a chapter. It's a blip on the radar screen. And your story isn't over. Going.
And it makes that story so much more incredible.
Oh man, just keep going. I'll leave it with my story, and other people's stories like this would just be sad stories if they didn't get up and do something about it.
Let's go.
That's it.
Brother, thank you.
You're welcome.
You're amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Alpha Mirror. We'll see you next time.
Good stuff, man.
Thank you for listening to the Alpha Mirror Podcast. Remember, the mirror never lies, reflects the man you choose to become. So this week, ask yourself, will my reflection say about me? Be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. Join me on this journey to redefine what it means to be an alpha. Until next time, keep facing the mirror, because that's where the alpha is born.